And then that's causing even bigger knots, which is causing even more breakage because you're having to cut off more hair. It's a nightmare. Now you are on the single strand knot path. You are on the road. You are welcoming the single strand knots. I know in my heart of hearts that they cause your hair to dry out, which leads to brittle hair, which leads to extra single strand knots, which leads to breakage, which leads to having to trim your hair more often. The list goes on. Hey lovely, and welcome to my channel. I hope you're well. My name is Selena, and today I'm going to be giving you 10 reasons as to why you may be seeing single strand knots. So let's get into it. So the first reason could be because you are shampooing too often. Now, if you have watched any of my videos, you know that I swear by washing my hair every single week. It's not too often for me because I don't shampoo my hair. I use a cleanser to clean my hair and my scalp. It's extremely effective. I've been doing it for a number of months now and will continue to keep on cleaning my hair using clays and herbs rather than shampoos, so my hair doesn't dry out. But that could be one of the reasons as to why your hair is drying out. Even if you are using moisturizing shampoos, these can still dry out your hair. It's the reason why I ditched them in the first place, because if you are shampooing your hair too often, this obviously can cause a lot of dryness, especially to your ends. And if your ends are just continuously dry, you're going to struggle to moisturize them effectively. If you are somebody who is looking for a replacement to your shampoo, then I will link a video down below in the description which shows you a tutorial of how I create my hair cleanser using herbs and using clays, and as I said before, it's very effective. So be sure to check that video out if you are on the lookout for an alternative, more holistic way of cleansing your hair. Another reason could be that you are not hydrating your hair effectively and enough, and you're finding that you are seeing a lot of single strand knots. I like to hydrate my hair every 2 days, not because I need to, it's because I don't want my hair to even think about getting dry. My hair tends to get dry around the 5-day mark, so I don't wait till then. No, I don't wait till then. I just hydrate and moisturize every 2 days, and in that way I'm not stressing about whether my hair is dry or not, because I know it's not. And I have found from doing this every 2 days, it's so effective. My single strand knots have reduced. I don't see them very often. Of course, it's inevitable, we are going to get them at some point in time. We can't avoid them totally, but we can reduce them drastically simply by hydrating our hair, especially our ends, often. So if you have to do it every 2 days like me, so be it. It's totally fine. Do it as often as you need to, because that's going to really help you to reduce the amount of single strand knots that you may be getting. Not moisturizing your hair effectively. Okay, so the key word right here is effectively. You may be moisturizing your hair often, but is it effective? You may need to use a spray, or if you are using water, you may need to heat this up, because that's going to allow for your cuticles to open and to receive that moisture that you are about to give it. Okay, so that may be another reason as to why you are getting single strand knots, is because your hair is too dry, and your hair is dry because you are not moisturizing effectively, or you are not hydrating your hair effectively. So try to heat up your water before spraying your hair, and you will find that this just may help you to moisturize your hair a whole lot better than if you didn't. I know a lot of you are not going to like this, but it's the truth. You may be wearing your braided extensions for far too long. If you are anything like how I used to be, I used to love wearing braids. I really used to love wearing braids, and I love seeing them on other people. If you don't know, I don't wear braids anymore. I ditched those because I realized exactly what they were doing to my hair, and I have noticed a significant difference ever since I stopped wearing them. But if you are somebody that is wearing braids, try not to wear them for too long, okay? These extensions could potentially be drying out your hair, even if you moisturize your hair prior to installing them. They contain, or a lot of them contain, different types of chemicals. A lot of them are made out of plastics, and your strands are intertwined with all of these fibers. Okay, so the chemicals that are on these extensions could be drying out your hair. And if that's the case, and you are keeping them in your hair for weeks after months, they could be drying out your hair, babe. So please do try to cut back on wearing them. And if you do wear them, try not to wear them for too long, because they honestly can be stripping your precious, delicate strands of that very much needed moisture. I know you've paid a pretty penny for your braids and you want your money to go a long way, but more importantly, you want to keep the moisture in your hair, because that's going to help you to avoid single strand knots. And avoiding the single strand knots is going to allow for you to see more length, because you're not having to chop away at those single strand knots, or those single strand knots can even be intertwining with the rest of your healthy hair, and then that's causing even bigger knots, which is causing even more breakage because you're having to cut off more hair. It's a nightmare. It's a nightmare, and you can tell that I have been there. So I'm not here to judge, I am here to help, and I would recommend you minimize or stay away from synthetic braided extensions. If you have any tips that have allowed you to see a reduction in single strand knots, please do let me know, because I'm trying to learn just as much as you guys. I definitely don't know it all. I'm still learning. I'm still on a journey. And if you have any tips that I can take on board, or that anybody else who's watching this video can take on board, it would be greatly appreciated. So leave your comments below. Another one is rushing your hair. You know, when you're about to go out, you've got a particular hairstyle in mind, but you've got somewhere to be in a matter of minutes and you haven't given yourself enough time to get ready, so you start rushing your hair. Please, please don't do that. It's so much easier to cause single strand knots when you are in a rush doing your hair. So always allow plenty of time, especially if you are dealing with your natural hair, so that you are not attributing to knotting up your own hair. Now, personally, I also found that brushing and combing my hair too often was also attributing to me getting single strand knots. Now, I know to some people that might not make any sense, but for me, I found brushes and combs, especially using them too often, can cause my ends to become brittle. Once your ends become brittle, now you are on the single strand knot path. You are on the road. You are welcoming the single strand knots. We're not welcoming those single strand knots, okay? And I just found that from brushing my hair too often, it was causing damage to the ends of my hair. So I don't do it so often anymore. Mainly nowadays, I am in a low manipulation style anyway. And so, yeah, I just try to stay away from combs and brushes and blow dryers, even though that's my thing. But no, if I want to reduce the single strand knots that can form within my hair strands, I know that I just need to stay away from the styling tools. Which leads me to heat styling too often. If you know me, you know that I love a good blow dry. I love to have my hair blow dried and it just out, and it's just, oh, chef's kiss. I love it. But I found that blow drying my hair too often can cause single strand knots. And if we are trying to reduce them, we need to behave ourselves, okay? We need to lean towards the low manipulation styles, and we need to walk away from the blow dryer. Or at least that's what I found. I found that from doing this, the SSKs have reduced drastically. So maybe give that a try, because you just may be able to see that you are not getting those knots anymore. And that point leads me onto not doing enough low manipulation styles. So if you are in your hair every minute, if you are in your hair every day, babe, you already know it's going to cause extra single strand knots. And when it's shrinking, it's intertwining with all the other hairs on your head. You know, they like to be together. They work as a team. And when they are all intertwined together and your hair is shrinking again, this is going to increase the risk of getting single strand knots. So where you can, please do try to keep your hands out of your hair, and you can leave your hair alone so that it can thrive, so that it can retain length, and so that you won't have to deal with those SSKs, those single strand knots, as often. Now, I believe this is the 10th one. Anyway, it's using natural hair products that contain ingredients in there that dry out your hair. This could be one of the reasons as to why you are seeing excessive single strand knots. This is something that you are going to have to look into for yourself, check for your ingredients, and make sure that you are not putting anything harmful on your hair strands, because they may feel amazingly soft when you apply your leave-in conditioner or when you apply your moisturizer, but really check for your hair the day after and the day after that. Assess your hair to see if it is still moisturized and still feeling nice and soft, because if it isn't, that's a sign that whatever it is that you are using on your hair could contain ingredients within it that are drying out your hair. And as we know, if your hair is getting dry, you are increasing the risk of single strand knots. Check to make sure that there are no synthetic fragrances in there, and you know that I swear by, I am dead against synthetic fragrances in our natural hair care products, because I know in my heart of hearts that they cause your hair to dry out, which leads to brittle hair, which leads to extra single strand knots, which leads to breakage, which leads to having to trim your hair more often. The list goes on. So please do try to use products on your hair that don't contain harmful ingredients, that don't contain perfume or synthetic fragrances or anything like that, because they attribute to drying out your hair and causing extra single strand knots. Now, if reducing the amount of single strand knots is important to you, and I'm sure it is, then that tells me that you are on a natural hair journey where you are trying to care for your hair the best that you can. And if that's the case, and I'm sure it's the case, then be sure to check out this video next, because it's going to help you along your journey even further. Peace, love, light, and blessings to you and yours. And I will look forward to seeing you all again in the next one.